Welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices, where today's topic is why Black love matters, or have we steered away too far from it? So, when we ended our last conversation, my buddy over here, Fred, started talking about, the initial attraction was sexual,
Physical.
or
Yes.
physical.
Physical.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Sexual. Yeah.
and then he started talking about Viagra and other stuff, But I want Fred to go back and kind of re-examine his conversation.
Okay. What I'm saying is that the saying, you can't help who you fall in love with. I don't believe that. Yeah, you can, because your first attraction, like I said, is not love. It's lust. It takes years. It takes you. My mother and father were married 60 years. They loved each other. Okay, people. Um, we have one short story, and it did by Margaret Richardson, about a couple, the grandmother and grandfather, and how the grandmother was getting sick, and he had to be there for her. And that, what Margaret's point was, that's love. That's love. And even with Caleb's story, this is a family that's been together for decades, and that's love. So, you build that love over time, and if you expand it out to the culture, we've built this love, the Black love, within the culture over centuries. Over centuries, it started when our ancestors had to survive in those slave quarters. They begin to build that love. And so that's why I say it takes time for, this, any love to take place. So I didn't mean to do an advertisement for.
No, my question, I want you guys' opinion, like, as far as, because I know I know you two are on social media a lot, right? And so when you see stuff on social media, like some of these groups, these KS groups, right? And you see the conversations that go on in those stupid groups, and I mean, what do you think the state of?
It's real disturbing what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm watching. It's almost as if we as a community, and I'm not saying we're guilty of it, but it's kind of like watching your Black community blow up in front of your face in terms of Black relationships. I think that we have been put in situations, okay, as a single Black woman, I've had to take care of myself and my son. So I did what I had to do it. Yes, I have a doctorate degree, but I'm being accused of being too educated. Well, that doctorate degree has gotten me into more positions to do what I wanted to do to sustain myself, but I'm being penalized for that a lot of times.
Penalized by who?
About a lot of men.
Okay.
And particularly Black men, saying you're too educated for me. I've seen these passport brothers, if you will, saying that Black women basically are no good, so they're going overseas to find the ideal woman. And in many cases, a lot of them are coming back in body bags. I look on Sunday mornings at church. If you really wanted to find a woman, why not go to church? Because the predominant number of people in church are Black women.
And they were in the club the night before.
Yeah, they were in the club the night before. So when I hear Black women really throwing brothers under the bus, when I hear brothers throwing Black women under the bus, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And I'm trying to understand where the breakdown began.
But that hopefully is just temporary. The Black love that's been universal for centuries hopefully can overcome that stupidity. And there are enough good brothers out there, and there's enough good women out there that they will continue that love that will sustain this culture into the future. So these guys are simpletons to me. Would you call them? You cursed on them, didn't you?
That was the most polite word I could call him too. Chris.
Caleb asked a question about social media and what's happening. I think we have to look at also what love is characterized today
On media.
on social media and in 2024. Now, sometimes I can't even go to my Facebook page because I got some brothers who I know and they got the women up there shaking their butts and whatever. Now, let me tell you, when the sun goes down, Chris is looking at them. But my point is this. No, seriously, the question becomes is when you look at our society, a Black society today, and what it means and what rap music has brought in and what that definition is and what that does to the girl that is virtuous, who's really trying to be all that she can be versus all of the floozies who are doing what they're doing, okay? I think that we have to, here's my situation. My situation is that I believe that we as Black folks enforce no rules on ourselves whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an open season for any and everything that we want to do. And I think that that is wrong. And I think that it's something that we need to do. I don't know. And even now, because of social media, I see the white girls, the Latino girls, and all of them coming into what has kind of been a Black culture that they're doing. These women are exhibitionists.
I got a question. So I'll start with you, Doc. So my question, the dynamic, right? So we know that Black women are the most educated demographic. Okay. And so you have a situation where you have sisters that are going out there. They just completed a multi-billion-dollar merger. They just, they just got through their assistants getting them Starbucks, and they just got through addressing the company, 100,000 employees. And so is it realistic to expect this woman to come home and then change hats and play a role of what they call being some more submissive, or being or catering to her husband, or being, you know what I mean? This woman with this level of education, and then you expect them to come home and it's a different dynamic at home.
I think
That's my question.
It depends on the woman and it depends on the man. Because I've heard this word submissive a lot, right? You're not submissive.
Right.
You're not submissive.
So talk about that.
And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm tired, right? I'm tired. I've read all these dissertations all day, been to meetings all day, been to conferences all day. I'm tired. Take me out to go get me something to eat. I don't have time to go in the kitchen that day to prepare a meal because you've got this image of how a woman should treat her man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, love is funny. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 100%,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes when that 100% kicks in, is the other person understanding enough as to why it shifted to 100%? And sometimes that 100% is unintentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm gonna use a word, tired. So it's the other person say, you know what, she's tired. How can I help her out?
Mm-hmm.
Let me take her out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Let me run her a bath of water.
And that's the love.
Mhm.
That's the love part.
And sometimes it 100% shifts to him, And then sometimes it does exactly what's supposed to do. It's 50-50. But the percentages are not always equal.
Right. So my second question.
You're messing with me, aren't you?
No. I just want to hear what your answer was going.
Bias. I'm the only single person in the group.
Chris. So no, you mentioned that. So a lot of times, though, this is and realistically, again, women do turn to social media for validation. Men a lot of times fulfill that validation by turning toward pornography. And so, are those two things damaging the Black relationship? How damaging do you think they are?
I don't know so much that they're damaging. I think that, I hope people that I know are not watching this, but I think that it really comes down to there's a place for everything. Okay. I think that women, especially, and really men, I guess, as well, this culture that we have with this rap music and so forth, their culture is really almost making even our own women sub, I don't want to say inferior to the men. And to me, that should never be. It should always be that there's an equal amount. It's like Sharon talked about when you've got different, from day to day, things change. When you ask about that woman who comes home and whether or not, because she's got this doctorate degree, she's talked to these classes, she's done this, she's done a dissertation or whatever. The reason I say that it depends on the woman is because it does depend on the woman from the standpoint of, can she balance all of that out to know that when she comes home, this is what she's going to do. Not because she's expected to do it, but because that's what she wants to do.
Why are you talking about the extreme? Your conversation is at the extreme. Most black women do not have a PhD. Most black women don't. Most black women may have a bachelor's degree. You're talking, I know he is. I'm responding. Do you mind?
He just likes to jump on me.
Okay.
Jump on me.
Yeah. You're talking about the extreme woman who's a CEO of a that's not the average black woman in this country. And that's who we need to be talking to. Certainly a woman with a PhD may have that kind of attitude, but she is not she's not your the average black woman in this country.
Hold up, before Doc responds. Let me ask you. But I mean, there's a reality that a lot of the sisters continue their education further than the men. So a lot of sisters, sisters who, a lot of them who work in the home healthcare industry, they went back and got further schooling or training to be a home healthcare aide or to work in the nursing home or to be a dental assistant or whatever it is. They may not have a bachelor's degree, but they do have further education, whether it's certifications or whether it's associate degrees or whatever. And that is for a lot of sisters these days. A lot of them have
that's
gone
not
on.
PhDs.
So but I'm not saying that. But there's still a difference in dynamic between education and income. And so my question is, how much does that affect relationships when there is a difference in education and income in that relationship?
Well, if to me, bottom line is, if it did, Sharon's bringing together, how you have to work this thing 50, sometimes 80-20, then 50-50. If you're able to do that, you're going to make it, and that relationship is going to grow to love. If you can't, that was never love. You didn't make it to love. Okay, not everybody. I go back to my Viagra thing. Everything. Most relationships start out physical. Once you get beyond that, then you build a relationship. That's when I believe you're gonna graduate to the love. And that's why I always say love takes a long time. We have a centuries for our culture of love.
With that being said, we appreciate you listening in on our conversation, and we really would like to get your comments on this as well. So thanks again for listening to Contemporary Black Voices.
And hang on for hot topics coming up.
Yes.